This is an interesting story I saw today, or yesterday I saw this. So Ted Cruz said that China is buying farmland near U.S. bases to set up drones for surveillance. Now, you know when Ted Cruz gets his hands on something, it's going to be good, dude. Man, Ted Cruz is starting to become one of my favorite political figures in the modern times. I didn't really care for him at first in the 2016 election, but he started to become one of my favorites. I really like Ted Cruz. Could you imagine Ted Cruz being president, man? That would be crazy. Anyway, moving on. So Ted Cruz said this week that the Chinese are buying up farmland near military bases so that they can have launch areas for drones to spy on bases. So who remembers that spy balloon last year? Or was it last year or was it 2 years ago? I don't remember. I do too much. I think it was last year. I specifically remember it being last year. So yeah. Yeah, it was March of last year. So yeah. So basically, now China is doing this on a larger scale. They're going to do it on their own soil as well. So not only are they invading our colleges, but they're also invading our own land and spying on our military bases. That's just great. Great. Good job. Ted Cruz made the remarks during his most recent episode of his Verdict podcast with co-host Ben Ferguson. You guys can check that out if you'd like. You can check out his full podcast if you want to see more on this. And he said that there are multiple Chinese spy balloons, and the Biden administration don't bother to tell anyone about them. Cruz said, until finally some ranchers in Montana spotted this one, and they got outed on the internet. Were it not for that, we wouldn't even know about this one. They kept it a secret that the Chinese had been sending spy balloons over U.S. airspace, over the U.S. military bases. They are engaged in active espionage against us. So that's what he said on his podcast. The Chinese are buying up land and claiming they're buying it up for farming and ranching, but it allowed them to set up a reconnaissance sites. Yeah, I said that right. That allowed them to install tracking technology, to use radar, to use infrared scanning, and to use the bases, and from there to try to fly drones over the bases to engage surveillance. He later added, and I gotta say, it is insane that we are allowing the Chinese to do this. This should be illegal. We should not allow the Chinese communists to buy land anywhere near our bases. I don't think we should allow the Chinese to buy land at all in America. The Chinese communists, from China at least. We should not allow them to buy land at all. I think we should have a travel ban. Similar to how Trump had the Islamic travel ban, the Muslim travel ban. Similar to that, but for Chinese people. Part of the government. The government agencies. Military type people. But we don't care that much because we just don't. We just don't care enough to do that. He said that the Democrats have resisted countering China's buying up of land around U.S. military bases because today the Democrat Party is essentially pro-China. They always have been pro-China, by the way. Cruz said that partly major stakeholders, big businesses, big tech, big Hollywood, and big universities, that's what I was talking about earlier, are all in bed with China. That's what he said on his podcast. You can check it out. Okay, like I said, it is called The Verdict. And knowing Ted Cruz is probably a good podcast. I'm going to check it out. I didn't even know he had a podcast, so that's neat. But yes, the Democratic Party has been in cahoots with China for a very long time. They've been big fans of China for a very long time. That's just their thing. They really like the Chinese government for whatever reason. When Richard Nixon made that deal with China in the 70s, it was a good deal at first. It was a really good deal. And then everyone blames Nixon for what happened later, but that's because weak Democrats screwed that all up. Weak, wimpy Democrats are the one that screwed that up for everybody. Because at first we did have a good trading system with them, and we had a balance there. And then China, or the Democrats, decided to screw that all up. So this is super neat. And I haven't seen a single mainstream news organization pick this up. This is all I'm seeing on this. Thank you for watching all the way through the end. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, you can tune into my full show to watch all of my episodes early. And as always, God bless.